Hey there, friends. Are you ready? Then let's take a breath and lean in, because this story takes place in the shadows of a college campus, where secrets stalk the hallways and danger waits between the lines. So let's sit back, buckle up, while I take you on a journey beneath the laurel trees. Hawthorne University looks peaceful from the outside. Brick walls, warm lights glowing in the library windows, ivy tracing the paths like veins. But beneath the calm, shadows move, secrets stir, and a girl with a carefully manufactured name is trying very, very hard to disappear. Her real name was buried months ago, but danger has a way of finding the people who run from it. Tonight, the past finds her. And someone else, too. Lena Markoff arrived at Hawthorne with only 2 suitcases and a new identity. Witness protection had a way of stripping life down to the bare bones. She kept her head down, her hood up, and her step small. Everything about her, movements, voice, presence, felt like a whisper. She studied criminology now, ironically. The psychology of criminals, how the mob thinks, how predators stalk their prey. Knowledge meant safety. At least that's what she told herself when the nights felt too long. But on her first day in Professor Roman Hale's class, her plan to stay invisible unraveled instantly. Roman Hale was impossible to ignore. Tall, lean muscle under a dark button-down, a gravel-warm voice, and large brown eyes that held a strange balance of gentleness and something sharper beneath. When he looked at his students, he truly saw them. When he looked at Lena, her breath caught. "Miss Markoff, you're new. Welcome." She ducked her head, muttered a shy "Thank you," but she felt his gaze linger, heavy, observant, almost protective. She hated how her pulse reacted, because the last thing she needed was attention from a man with eyes that could read a soul like a book. The signs began small. A figure she didn't recognize leaning against a lamppost near her dorm. A black sedan idling too long at the edge of campus. A tingle on the back of her neck like eyes following her. "It's nothing. It has to be nothing. I'm safe. They don't know where I am. They can't. Don't shake. Don't look scared. Blend in. Breathe." But that primal instinct whispered otherwise. One night, walking out of the criminology building, she saw a man across the quad standing too still, staring directly at her. His clothes were ordinary, but his posture wasn't. Shoulders angled, hand in jacket, watching her like a hunter watches a deer. Her blood iced. She fumbled for her phone, but Roman appeared out of nowhere. "Lena, you're pale. Are you all right?" She froze. His voice, his presence, his scent. Coffee and cedarwood washed over her like sudden warmth. She swallowed hard, forced a smile. "No, yes, I'm fine." Roman followed her line of sight, and the stranger vanished. Roman's eyes darkened. He scanned the area again, jaw tight. "Next time you feel watched, tell me." She blinked up at him. Why did he say it like he meant it? Like her safety mattered to him personally? His large brown eyes met her hazel ones, searching, protective, heated with something he tried to hide. For a moment, neither of them breathed. Lena's footsteps echoed through the cold concrete. Her late-night class had gone too long. The campus garage was nearly empty, and she kept telling herself she wasn't being followed, even though she could feel that tingling in the back of her neck. That soft echo behind her was just her imagination. "It's fine," she told herself. "No one's here. No one knows where you are. Stop shaking. Keep walking." A shadow flickered behind a pillar just then, and her mouth went dry. She quickened her pace, and her breath grew uneven, heart punching against her ribs painfully. "It's too quiet," she thought, "too empty. Get to the car, now." She reached for her keys, and a hand grabbed her arm, startling her. She gasped and spun around, colliding with a solid chest. Warm, strong, and steady. "Lena, it's me," Roman said. His hand steadied her arm warm around her forearms, and her heart thundered beneath his touch. His scent hit her. Clean soap, warm cedar, and faint coffee, and it flooded her senses, grounding her and unraveling her at the same time. Roman stepped closer, intentionally slow, controlled, never threatening. His large brown eyes darkened with concern and intensity as he studied her trembling face. He leaned down, close enough for his breath to warm her cheek. Roman said firmly, "Someone followed you. I saw him." Her lips parted silently, and Roman's thumb brushed her elbows as his eyes glowed. His touch was light, grounding, and intimate. He stepped closer and closer until their bodies almost touched. "He's too close. I should pull away. Why can't I? Why does being near him feel safe? Why does he smell so good?" Her breath caught, and she stepped back. "Talk to me, Lena. I need to know what you're running from." She looked into those burning brown eyes, and her resolve to be alone cracked. After the night in the parking garage, the air between them shifted. It became heavier, charged. Roman began to hover, not in a way that felt controlling. He didn't demand to know where she was. He just appeared. He became a shadow at the edge of her vision. "I tell myself it's protocol," Roman said. "She's a high-risk witness. My job is to watch the perimeter, check the exits, scan for threats. But when I look for threats, why do my eyes always stop on her? Why do I track the way the wind catches her hair instead of checking the tree line? I'm losing my edge. Or maybe I'm sharpening it for the wrong reason." He walked her to her next class, keeping a respectful distance, but close enough to intervene. He'd ask if she'd eaten, not like a professor, but like a man who knew that fear killed an appetite. When a stranger lingered too long near the bike racks, Roman didn't say a word. He just stepped into the space between Lena and the threat, a silent wall of muscle and dark wool. It should have annoyed her. She had spent months learning to be invisible, independent. Instead, it terrified her how much she craved it. My whole life, the feeling of eyes on me meant death. It meant run, hide, change your name. But with him, when I feel his eyes on me, my heart doesn't race with fear. It races with anticipation. I feel anchored. And that's the most dangerous thing of all. If I get used to this safety, how will I survive when he leaves? It happened on a Thursday afternoon. The lecture hall had emptied out, leaving only the echo of shuffling papers. Lena was tired. The nightmares had been bad the night before. She slung her heavy bag over her shoulder, her mind wandering. Her boot caught on the strap of her bag, and gravity took over. She gasped, bracing for the hard impact of the linoleum. But she never hit the ground. Roman was there, instantly. His reflexes were faster than thought. One arm shot out, hooking her waist, arresting her fall and yanking her upward. Momentum slammed her body flush against his. Oh God, he's solid, like a rock, like a wall, she thought. The impact knocked the breath out of her. For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. Roman's hand wasn't just holding her, it was gripping her. His large fingers spread instinctively against the small of her back, pressing her closer than necessary. Through the layers of her sweater and his shirt, she felt the heat of him. Let go, Hale. She's steady. Let her go. But I can't, he thought to himself. She feels right. She fits here. My heart is hammering against my ribs, and I know she can feel it. God, I can smell her. Honey and rain. It's intoxicating. This is a mistake. This is the biggest mistake of my career. He looked down at her. His dark eyes were blown wide, stripped of their usual professional guard. He scanned her face, her parted lips, the flush rising on her neck, and his gaze darkened. His voice, when it came, was a rough grate of a sound, strained. Careful. The word hung in the air. It wasn't just a warning about the bag. It was a warning about this, about the precipice they were both standing on. Lena looked up at him. She saw the conflict in his eyes. She saw the hunger he was trying to bury. And for the first time in her life, she didn't want to run. The words slipped out before her brain could stop them, a whisper, a plea. Then, don't let go. Silence crashed into the room. Roman's jaw tightened so hard a muscle feathered in his cheek. His hand on her back flexed, fingers digging in slightly, as if he wanted to pull her inside him, to hide her from the world within his own ribcage. Don't let go. God, if I don't let go now, I never will. I want to taste her. I want to erase every fear she's ever felt. His gaze dropped to her mouth. He lingered there. She saw his pupils dilate. She felt his chest expand with a sharp, ragged inhale. He started to lean in, just an inch. The magnetic pull was undeniable. Lena thought, kiss me, please, just once. But then reality sat back. The professor, the witness, the danger. Roman squeezed his eyes shut for a fraction of a second, a look of physical pain crossing his face. He forced himself to step back. His hands left her waist slowly, dragging slightly, as if it physically hurt to break the contact. I have to grade papers. The lie was flimsy. They both knew it. He turned away sharply, putting the desk between them, and his knuckles white as he gripped the wood. His restraint burned in the room, hotter and more dangerous than his touch ever was. The old university library was a labyrinth of shadows and dust mites dancing in the moonlight. It was nearly midnight. They were the only two souls left in the archives. For the last hour, Lena had been trying to study. Roman had been supervising, which mostly involved him leaning against a bookshelf 3 feet away, watching her highlight the same sentence for 10 minutes. Lena finally sighed, spinning her chair around to face him. A small, brave smile played on her lips, a look she only ever wore around him. You know, Professor, for a man trying to be discreet, you're terrible at blending in. Roman arched an eyebrow, crossing his arms over his chest. The ghost of a smirk touched his lips. I have no idea what you mean. I am the picture of academic boredom. You look like a panther trying to pretend he's a house cat. You've been glaring at that poor librarian for an hour. He was shelving the criminology, psychology books in the wrong order. It was suspicious. Lena let out a laugh, a genuine, soft sound that seemed to startle the silence of the room. Roman's smirk faded, replaced by a look of intense focus. He pushed off the bookshelf and took a step toward her. God, that sound. I'd kill to keep hearing that sound. A month ago she wouldn't speak above a whisper. Now she's teasing me. She's coming alive. And I'm the one who's supposed to be the stoic protector. But every time she smiles at me, I feel like I'm the one being disarmed, he said to himself. The playful air shifted, thickened. Roman stepped into her personal space. The gravity of him pulled her in. He reached out, his fingers brushing a stray lock of hair from her forehead. I stare because I'm making sure you're still here. Lena's breath hitched. The banter died, replaced by a sudden, overwhelming awareness of his body near hers. When he brushed her arm, she shivered. His fingers slid down her sleeve, slow and deliberate, until they found her hand. He interlaced their fingers, and she didn't pull away. His hand is so big, she thought, so warm. My hand is shaking. Why am I shaking? It's not fear, it's wanting. I want him to pull me closer. I want to forget that I have a price on my head and just be a girl standing in a library with a guy she likes. You're shaking, Roman said. He lifted her chin carefully with his free hand, tilting her face to his. He gave her time to refuse, to step back, to be the student. She didn't. She stepped closer. Their foreheads nearly touched. His breath mingled with hers, warm, cedar-laced, and intoxicating. I'm not letting anything happen to you, Lena. Not now. Not ever. Her knees weakened at the absolute certainty in his tone, but the question that had been burning in her chest for weeks finally broke free. Why? Why do you care so much? You've had assignments before. Roman's eyes flicked to her lips, hunger warring with duty, before returning to her hazel eyes with visible restraint. Tell her it's the job. Lie to her. Keep her safe. I can't. Because protecting you stopped being just a job. Her heart lurched. The world outside the library vanished. I care. Too much, Lena. His hand moved from her chin to cup her cheek, his thumb stroking the soft skin there. Her lashes fluttered shut, and she leaned into the warmth, helplessly drawn to him. The air between them crackled with static. For a second, she thought he might kiss her. She wanted him to kiss her. Do it. Please, Roman, just close the gap. He leaned in. Their lips were millimeters apart. Then, a loud metallic crash could be heard outside. The moment shattered. Roman stiffened instantly. The lover vanished. The soldier returned. He shoved her behind him, his body becoming a shield. We're not alone, Lena. The intruder leaned in, his ear pressed against the glass, listening to the silence of the room. A beam of a tactical flashlight cut through the frosted window, sweeping over the floor, missing their hiding spot by inches. The light caught the dust mites in the air, which were the only things moving in the terrified stillness. Roman had pressed her against a bookcase to shield them from the light, and Lena, wide-eyed, couldn't hold it in. The terror clawed its way up her throat. She turned her face into Roman's chest, trying to hide her terror, her hands clutching the fabric of his shirt so hard Her knuckles turned white. "He's looking for me. He knows I'm here." The words were barely a breath, but in the silence they sounded like a scream, and Roman reacted instantly. He shifted his hand from her waist, bringing it up to her face in one smooth movement. He pressed 2 fingers gently against her lips, sealing the sound inside. "Don't speak," his eyes communicated to her. "Please, Lena, don't speak. If he hears you, I have to kill him, and I don't want you to see that." She felt his warm skin against her mouth. The calluses on his fingertips grazed her softness. With his thumb he brushed a chaotic strand of hair away from the damp cheek, tucking it behind her ear. The gesture was impossibly tender for such a dangerous moment. His dark eyes locked onto hers, pleading, promising, and commanding her to trust me. The shadow outside lingered for just one more agonizing second, then the flashlight clicked off. They heard the heavy boots turn. They saw the shadow in the glass move on, fading down the hallway toward a different section of the references in the library. Roman didn't take his fingers from her lips. He waited until the silence was absolute. The shadow had moved on, but the danger had just become real. They made it to Roman's car, a nondescript black sedan parked in the shadows of the faculty lot. The walk had been a masterclass in evasion. Roman had moved them through maintenance tunnels and service exits she didn't even know they existed. He was checking corners with a fluidity that no academic should possess. Inside the car, the silence was deafening. Roman jammed the key into the ignition, his knuckles white, as if this was just another Tuesday for him. "You know, for a criminology professor, you have terrifyingly good fieldcraft. What was that back there? Advanced sneaking 401?" She was deflecting, making jokes to keep her hands from shaking. Roman didn't smile. He checked the rearview mirror, his eyes scanning the darkness like a radar. I read a lot of spy novels." "Spy novels don't teach you how to clear a room or how to hold someone so they don't make a sound." She turned in her seat, studying his profile. The sharp jawline, the way his hand rested near his waistband. Not on the gear shift, but near his hip. Something clicked. A lecture from 3 weeks ago. Behavioral baselines. Look for the deviation. "You're not just a professor, Roman. You never were." Roman stiffened. He slammed the car into park, the engine idling roughly. He turned to face her, the shadows cutting across his dark features. He reached inside his jacket and Lena flinched, instinctively bracing for a weapon. Instead, he pulled out a leather wallet and flipped it open. A silver federal badge caught the street lamp's glow. "I'm not just your professor. I was assigned to you. Operation Laurel. My job was to watch, assess, and report, never to engage." The betrayal hit her harder than the fear. She laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. "Ha! So the hovering, the careful warnings, the way you looked at me in the library, that was just what? Taxpayer-funded surveillance?" "It started that way, Lena." He leaned across the console. The space between them vanished. He grabbed her hand, not gently this time, but desperate. "But somehow between the lectures and the coffee, I stopped reporting. I stopped being an agent. I became
yours. You lied to me. I lied about my job. I never lied about how I feel. And right now, I am terrified, not of them, of losing you. Lena looked at his hand covering hers. She squeezed it back hard. Then stop treating me like a package you have to deliver. If we're going to survive this, Roman, I'm not staying in the car. Roman had contacted his FBI agents, and they had ditched the car, moving on foot toward the extraction point. The ambush happened at the edge of the Laurel Grove, but the shadows detached themselves from the trees. 3 men this time, heavy coats, suppressors on their weapons. Get behind me. No. Roman looked at her, shocked. Lena pointed to the left, her eyes narrowing, analyzing the threat just like he had taught her in class. They're funneling us. 2 on the right, 1 flanking left. If I stay behind you, the flanker has a clear shot at your back. I take the left. You actually listened in my class? I'm a straight A student. Now give me your backup piece. There was no time to argue. Gunfire erupted. Pew, 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 tearing into the bark of the oak tree beside them. Roman shoved his spare handgun into her hand. Without a second thought, his fingers brushed hers. Safety off. Aim center mass. Don't die, or I'll have failed you. Deal, she said. Chaos unleashed. Roman moved like a storm, returning fire, drawing the attention of the 2 main attackers. He was a distraction, a target. He took a hit, a graze to the shoulder that spun him around, and he went down on 1 knee, groaning. The flanker on the left stepped out, raising his weapon towards Roman's exposed back. Not him. You don't touch him, she thought to herself as she raised her weapon. Lena didn't freeze. She didn't scream. She stepped out from the cover, leveled the heavy pistol with 2 shaking hands, held her breath, and fired. The shot went wild, hitting the dirt, but it spooked the gunman, and he ducked. It bought Roman 1 second, and that was all he needed. Roman surged up, tackling the flanker, disarming him with a bone-crunching strike. Silence fell. The other attackers had fled at the sound of distant sirens. Roman stood panting, blood soaking his black shirt. He looked at Lena. She was still holding the gun, chest heaving, eyes wide. He walked over to her, gently prying the weapon from her fingers. He then pulled her into him, crushing her against his good shoulder. You crazy, brilliant girl. You saved my life, he whispered into her hair. Extra credit? She said. Automatic A, for the semester, for life. And he kissed her. The extraction team arrived in a swarm of black SUVs and tactical gear. The danger was over, and the adrenaline crash was brutal. Roman sat on the back bumper of an ambulance, a paramedic wrapping his shoulder. He refused to go to the hospital until he saw Lena cleared. She walked over to him, holding 2 bad coffees she'd scavenged from a support vehicle. Black? Like your soul? She said. Roman took the cup with his good hand, wincing as he shifted. He took a sip and grimaced. Terrible, but thank you. So, what happens now? The bad guys are in cuffs. My cover is blown. Do I get a new name? A new city? She looked down at her boots, the fear creeping back in. Not fear of death. Fear of leaving. Roman set the coffee down, noticing her uncomfortableness. He stood up, ignoring the paramedic's protest, and stepped into her space, the same way he had in the library, gravity pulling her in. Protocol says, yes, you get relocated. New identity, fresh start. And you? She said, looking at him. Protocol says I file my report and move to the next assignment. He reached out, his hand cupping her jaw, forcing her to look at him. But I think we established tonight I'm terrible at following protocol. You really are the worst agent ever. I'm retiring, effective immediately. He leaned in, his forehead resting against hers. I don't want a new assignment. I just want to know if Lena Ward, or whatever name you choose, has room in her life for an unemployed professor. Well, I think I can make an exception, but you still owe me that A. I'll do better than that. He kissed her. It wasn't a desperate kiss like in the grove. It was slow, deliberate, a promise. Around them, the lights of the police cruiser flashed, but beneath the laurel trees, finally, there was only peace. Thank you for hanging out with me today and listening to Beneath the Laurel Trees. If you enjoyed this story, please do me a huge favor and invite the like button out for a romantic candlelight dinner, but then accidentally eat all the breadsticks and stick it with the bill. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what kind of story you want me to narrate next. Is it a dark thriller, a cozy romance, or do you have a crazy story of your own? Let me know in the comments. Just, maybe leave out the incriminating details if the mafia is actually watching you. I'm Renee, and I'll see you in the next story.